Hey guys, it's IT Ops Guy. I get to use Solarwinds in my normal job every single day, and it's a very expensive piece of monitoring software. And it occurs to me that a bunch of people may not have the opportunity to use such a product, right? Because the price is prohibitive for a lot of people and even a lot of organizations. But I wanted to basically show you SolarWinds and kind of how it works. And in order to do this, I'm just going to be using my local machine, my laptop. It's a Surface, nothing super special, but I do have Windows Enterprise on it. And what I plan on doing is using a series of virtual machines and essentially setting up a lab on a single box. SolarWinds does have a new licensing model coming out, and that new licensing model allows you to get all of their products and pay for the quantity of nodes that you want to monitor, as well as the components that you want to use. So the thought is, right, you could build a very robust SolarWinds setup for exactly what you need versus kind of the legacy licensing system where what we do today is like I have an unlimited node license at my workplace, and with that license I can monitor whatever I want, however much I want, and really I'm only limited by the horsepower of the machine and the size of the database, right? So disk essentially. But what we're going to do here is essentially play around, right? I want to show you SolarWinds. I want to give you basically just some ideas about the product itself. What can it do? And we'll just play around with it if nothing else. We're going to also take this opportunity to play with Windows Server 2022 because why not? And then we might even use Nano Server since I'm going to be using Hyper-V on my local machine to do all this work. Trying to keep it as small as possible is probably the way to go. So this is my first time making a YouTube video. I've never done it before. I've got plenty of training videos internally for my group of people, but I've never done anything for the internet. It's just one of those things like I would never do that. But honestly, I feel like the knowledge that I have here, it's my duty to share it, right? The educational system super sucks. It costs $1 million to go to college, not literally, but it seems that way for a lot of people, and a quality education is out of reach for a lot of folks. Or even if they can reach it, they can get those loans. They end up paying on those loans forever and ever and ever, right? Interest never goes away. And to get a decent degree, you're going to spend 50, 60, 70,000 upwards to however much, but depending on the school and the area that you're in. So my goal really here is to just educate you with what I know. I've been in the computer industry for 30 years. Yeah, you've heard that right, 30 years. So I started with computers back in the DOS days. Today, I am the IT operations manager for the National Law Enforcement Network. So a critical network that has to remain up 24/7, 365. It is fully staffed 24 hours a day. We take care of all of our own critical controls, HVAC systems inside the data center, fire alarm systems, you name it. If it goes inside of a data center, if it's a critical control, we deal with it, including the UPSs, the ATS. If those acronyms are Greek to you, a UPS is an uninterruptible power supply, essentially a giant battery that keeps the data center alive. The ATS is the automatic transfer switch. It's a big box that's designed to determine the best source. So most of the time we're using street power, but if that becomes unavailable, a signal gets sent to our ATS and then in turn to our generator. Generator kicks on, ATS flips over to generator power, and then essentially we've got power for as long as we can keep fuel inside of it. So I know I've gone on a short tangent, but it's all about just letting you know, I've been doing this for a little while. I've seen good things, I've seen bad things. What we're going to set up here is just a really basic environment. As you can see from the screen, we've got a domain controller, a web server, a SQL box, and then the Solarwinds box. Again, we're going to create this domain just on this laptop, nothing special here. We may even utilize a nano server in order to do this. And I'm toying with the idea, it's just because it's a test box and we're only going to pull the nodes that we've got here on the screen. I might even use a Linux SQL container because Microsoft makes a Linux SQL container. So SolarWinds doesn't say that it can use that, but I figured why not try it? I'm sure the Linux SQL container is much smaller than a full-on OS install along with SQL. So I'm going to dive into doing some of these things. There are a couple of prerequisites for you. This laptop does have Hyper-V on it. So Hyper-V is what I'm going to use as the hypervisor, but you can also utilize VMware or VirtualBox, or if you're a Mac person, and I'm sorry, but you could use Parallels. But I am going to use just Hyper-V. It's a fantastic product, especially for the cost, right? It comes free with the OS. It used to super suck. We're talking 2012 days. But this product has really matured and entered the enterprise class space. Microsoft actually makes a server that you can download for absolutely free. There's no limitation on it, called Hyper-V Server. And it is just a pared down operating system, the base OS, to get a server up and running. And then you utilize something like Windows Admin Center or the Hyper-V Manager plugin to manage that server remotely. So all you get on the server itself is just a command prompt or a PowerShell prompt. And that is how you interact with the box. And if you want to interact with it remotely, you've got to use, if you want a GUI, something like Hyper-V Manager or Windows Admin Center. So I am an old school guy. I tend to use Hyper-V Manager, but we can also utilize the Windows Admin Center, which I did download. And so what we can do is give Windows Admin Center a try. I haven't installed this ever, and in fact, I've never actually used it. Remember, I'm an operations guy. I am not a system architect or a system engineer. So, my expertise in these areas, again, I've been using computers for 30 years. I know my way around some stuff, but I may not have the latest and greatest. So anyway, if that's what you're looking for, you might want to find somebody else. But we're just going to set this up and have some fun. That's really the whole point here. And maybe learn a few things along the way, collectively, you and I. So with that said, I'm going to start just by getting the prerequisites out of the way. As I mentioned previously, Hyper-V is what I'll be using, but feel free to use whichever hypervisor you like. In order to get Hyper-V, I know I've already got it installed, but if you just go to turn Windows features on and off, as long as you're running Education, Pro, or Enterprise, you can get Hyper-V for free. If you have Windows 11 Home, you may not see the Hyper-V option. So you might want to look at VirtualBox or some other hypervisor. Otherwise, you can pay a small upgrade fee to Microsoft. And if you go from Home to Pro, or if you have the possibility of getting an enterprise license, go ahead and enter that license key. And then you can install Hyper-V. You can also install containers. So I'm going to be using Hyper-V simply because it's available. So why not? So I got that. I got the SolarWinds installer. I've got the Windows Server ISO here. And then I went ahead and downloaded Windows Admin Center because, again, why not learn something new together? So anyway, that is just the introduction to the plan of what we're going to be doing. Some things may change along the way, but I wanted to give you this short intro video, just how things are going to work, and pay attention for some subsequent videos, right? And we will get started on this project. And you know, I've never actually said it, but I might as well, because I hear it all the time from my daughters who think they post on YouTube. But if you want to see the rest of this series, go ahead and ring the bell, hit the subscribe button, whatever it is you do. I don't know how it works, but anyway, go ahead and do those things, and let's build out this environment together and have some fun. That's it, guys. Thank you very much.